Heroes Reborn series premiere. Now, like a lot of other people, I was really excited for Heroes to come back. I was very curious that this was actually going to take place however many years it's been since Heroes was canceled. I believe 6 years. They kind of mentioned it a little bit with the whole, um, I think it was season 4, the season 4 finale, I believe, where Claire kind of reveals herself to be human, and then Heroes got canceled, and it was like, oh, and that's just the way it ended. So I was really excited for this show to come back. I loved Heroes even up to the end. Like I mean, obviously that's why it failed. And, people just lost interest. They thought it wasn't as good anymore. The writer's strike really destroyed it because I think that was the worst thing that happened after season 2. It was like a year and a half before that happened, and I think that really affected the show as well. But it came back in, and I think this episode did pretty good. I thought it was a good showing, and we got the first 2 episodes technically, so I think they were nice. I think they were a nice showing of what we're gonna get out of this series. I don't know how many episodes this is supposed to be, and I'm pretty sure this is just this story is gonna be it, and then it's done. It's like a 1 season thing. Um, so I'm really excited for it. It was jumbled. I can say that for sure. It was just constantly hopping all over the freaking place. But it did have its focus. It was set on very specific characters. We have, of course, Noah Bennett, who, was like initially like a villain in the original series, and then he kind of became a hero after his daughter got involved. And, it starts off at this summit, and, tons of, people have powers, which is and it was one of the cool things. It was like, okay, it kind of had me remembering a lot of different episodes from the original series, which I think during season 2, possibly season 3, was when they did a bunch of that time travel stuff. And I think it was like season 2. And we got to see a buttload of the future. It was just like all the freaking time. Like, here's this future. Everyone has superpowers. There are powers for sale. People steal powers and use the serum when they were doing that. And then they had another future where I believe it was, oh, who was it? It was like, it wasn't Nathan. I think it was his brother who was like going, he was going for president, but the world was kind of destroyed and stuff after everything happened. And it was just a lot of craziness. So there were a ton of different things happening. And we get to see this future where people simply evolved, which I don't remember that ever being a part of the series. So I don't know if that's what's gonna take place, and I guess technically the same sort of thing did happen. It's just that eclipse happened, and certain people did just somehow get power. So I guess the same thing could have happened, just in that time span where more people just awakened with abilities that had those powers. Because we saw people of all different ages. There was an older guy in this episode who had super speed, and he had he was a much older character than anyone else in the series. So it's like, okay, we learn it's kind of the same thing as the original series. Some people just got powers at some point. You're just born with these powers, and boom, they just activate one day. So it was interesting to watch that. It's a world where it's humans versus evos, which I love the term evos because it makes me think of the Yocho Generator Rex, which is really awesome. That's like the only reason I even care that they use that term. But I thought it was really cool. It's like, of course, whenever there's any difference, it's always like, God hates these people who aren't humans. That will never get old. You can always have that cliche, and it always works because it's like there are people that are stupid like that. Where it's like, God hates these people. Like, then why do they exist? Wow, just boom, there you go. But it was fun to watch. I enjoyed the concept of this world of heroes where people are just human and evolved. And the evolved people are the ones on the run. The evolved people are the ones who fear for their lives because there are people chasing down, superhumans and killing them. Like, these people have to go underground and hide their identity because people fear them. And even before what happened in, the first episode with the summit and everything, the whole point of that summit was because humans and evos didn't really get along. And then after that, everything kind of just fell apart. And they blame Mohinder and, Suresh. And that was pretty much his only appearance in the show, is that he is like Suresh, the terrorist. And that's pretty much it. So hope, I know we'll get to see him in the show. I know we get to see Hiro Nakamura come back. We also get to see the cop whose name I certainly can't remember. And I don't know what other characters are supposed to come back. They say that Claire, I read a random comment that Claire's supposed to be officially dead, but it's also Claire who has the ability to regenerate. So it's like, I don't know. But I think my favorite thing about this is that it changed a lot after watching the first episode. When we find out that Noah initially, or intentionally, I don't know why I said initially, but intentionally had his memory wiped by Renee, who I was surprised to see come back. Although I kind of hate the fact that he came back and it's like, oh, the kind of the old duo's back, and then he gets killed off because Noah at some point was like, erase my memory, and if I come back here, kill me. That changed everything for me because I was like, initially it was just okay. It's years later. Now there are people hunting those with superpowers, and the way I saw it initially was that, the husband and wife characters, I just thought they were like just like this crazy evil hunting team, and then we found out that they have an actual story to it, so that changed a bit as well. But this whole new mystery element really has me excited. Like, Noah did something. Like, he was some big thing, and he was responsible somehow. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. Based on the fact that he had his memory completely erased by Renee, and he told Renee to kill him if he ever came back, I have to assume he was the bad guy in that situation, and I have to wonder why. And Renee even says you had the perfect plan. So that has me really hooked to watch the rest of this now. I was interested no matter what. But now that they've added this element to Noah's story where he's not just involved with evils being hunted and trying to help them, he's trying to figure out what happened on June 13th and how was he a part of it. It has me incredibly excited for what they're going to be introducing into this, new form of heroes. And that just seems really cool because he is this powerful character, and it's like, why would he do that to the summit? So I'm really excited to get the answers on that, which I'm sure won't happen for a while, but I'm excited for that. That as soon as that happened, I was like, now they've added a mystery to his story where he's responsible for something, and he's gonna go back and you know piece everything together from his past that he can't remember, and of course he can't get any answers from Renee because he's dead now. So that I was really excited for. Like, as soon as it happened, I just got hooked into it even more. I was like, this is going to be my favorite storyline because that is the big trigger. That's why the world is the way it is, because people were trying at that summit, and then after that it was like, oh, evos did that themselves. Let's hunt them down. Let's destroy them. So it was just really cool. And now it's like, people with superpowers are in prison just for being super, and all sorts of stuff. Very X-Men style, of course, but that always works. Like, X-Men has done it for a long time, but no one else ever really has. So it's cool to see it in the heroes form, where it's also a bit more brutal because X-Men is still X-Men. It's, whenever we see it in the movies, it's still just going to be X-Men, and it's going to be, what it is. Somewhat serious, a bit more serious with, if you saw Days of Future Past. That's just how that storyline goes. But with Heroes, it's like, nope, here's a dude that chopped his own hand off so that he could fly away because he was in prison just because he had superpowers. And, we have one of our other main characters, whose name I can't remember. I don't remember, like, anyone's name, honestly, any of the new characters. But, he gets a focus in this, and he's the young kid trying to figure out his abilities and just survive. And he's moved from town to town with his mother and stuff because he can't really control his powers. And he's being followed by this other dude with the pennies. I'm still trying to figure out the exact form of his power, but I love it. I just think it's really cool. Like, I'm assuming he gives people the pennies, and he literally takes whatever memory he wants from them, and it's basically trapped inside of that penny. I'm feeling like that's what it is, and maybe he can rewrite certain things as well. But I know for sure with the first guy, when he gave him the penny, and he's like, a penny for your thoughts, he took the memory of the boy from his mind and he got the penny back. Or maybe he didn't get the penny back. Like, I don't know. We technically never see him take the penny back from anyone. We just see him give them the penny. And then technically that's in the next scene is either him leaving or it's just someone else. So you kind of leave that open. So I'm still trying to figure out what his power is 100%. But I like him. He's like a weird character a little bit. He's got the bow tie and stuff. And we don't know why he's following this kid. We've got like no real answers. He's helped him, and I'm assuming he's the one who texted him, like when he was in the hallway and stuff. So he saves him from being identified by like the delivery guy from the beginning of the episode, and he helps him accomplish what he couldn't do because he didn't want to make the father disappear because it was before he knew about his power, so he had no idea, what was happening. So he helped him accomplish that goal, and he helped save him from the beginning of the episode. And it's just interesting. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know. Maybe that's his father because the kid does mention he never knew his father. Possibly, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like that for heroes, that would actually be too normal. So I highly doubt it's his father. Just watching him from a weird distance for whatever reason, just because like that would actually be too normal of an answer. And maybe that's the twist. Maybe it's going to be an actual normal answer, which of course that would still be really weird that he's watching his son from a distance and not helping him. But I'm pretty sure he's not his father. I think he's someone else with some plan. Just a million mysteries. I have no idea, but I like his character. I'm curious what he's doing as well. It's another little mystery. I do like the boy. Like, I like his storyline, like what he had, and I think this is probably my favorite form of teleportation I've ever seen. I think, there's really only three things that ever come to mind in teleportation. It's like, of course, X-Men, and specifically X2 with Nightcrawler, that opening scene, him teleporting and stuff in slow motion, and when he teleports a bunch and the whole room is smoky. Stuff like that really catches my attention. I always remembered that. I don't know how many of you may have seen the show or seen the movie Jumper, but that looked really cool. Just the way they showed it visually, how the teleportation worked, it looked really cool. And this looked really awesome too. Like, it's simple, but it has like a little sound effect. I love the fact that he can teleport specific items. Like, he can touch a person. Like, he touched the woman, he touched her back, and he teleported the gun, which was on the opposite side. I thought that was amazing, because I don't think I've ever seen that before as far as teleportation goes. It's like, whatever you touch gets teleported, and that person, whatever they're touching, gets teleported as well. Or it's just like an area of effect sort of thing, where, and this was kind of in the movie Jumper, where you could teleport like just a certain extent, and that was also kind of related to what you're touching. So I love that. It was like he touched her, the back of her jacket and made the gun disappear, and then they have, it's almost like a black hole a little bit where space just gets distorted and sucked in, and it's just like, and it's gone. I just love the way that looks, and we find out about his powers when they find the petal, the flowers and the ice cream and stuff. So that's really cool. We got the answer to his powers, which it's always funny. I love when that happens because it makes you. It kind of makes me always think about stuff like, because it's TV writing and it's like, oh, we get the answer to his powers, but he got the answer too after like, who knows how old he is, like 15 or 16 years or something. So it's just kind of funny that he finally figured it out when we got to see him figure it out. But I loved his powers. I enjoyed his storyline. I thought it was pretty cool. Not sure how things are going to play. Based on the preview, he stays within the town that he's in right now. And then there's a part where it seems like he gets involved with Hero because there's something happening and he's moving, but everything else was stopped. Unless he develops even more powers, which I don't know how, you develop time-stopping abilities from teleportation, but who knows? So it seems like he's going to stay where he is, which I believe is in Odessa at this point. So he's going to stay where he is for now, and things are just going to kind of happen around him. And Noah's kind of going to be the one that travels. And then we, of course, have our third other, kind of main character that gets introduced as far as the heroes go. And that's Katana Girl. And, of course, I can remember that because it's easy. her storyline really surprised me when they did the whole digital thing. When she actually went into the game, that really shocked me. I was like, I didn't expect them to go like full CG with this, and it was pretty cool. At first, it was a little weird because it's always generally whenever they do that in like a live action show and they do like the 3D stuff, it never looks that good, and sometimes it just looks weird, and it still does just a tiny bit. But after a while, when I was looking at it, I was like, this does actually look like how games look today. It doesn't look too realistic. Like the facial models look too similar, I think, and this is from like me playing games forever. Just the way they did um, the facial character for her was a little too similar, I think, or maybe it was the fact that it was too different because the environment looked very nice and realistic, but she still had like a super CG look. But it would take way more money, like as crazy as it might seem. It does take a lot of money to make 3D effects like that, so I'm sure that cost already a boatload of money. So it's, I'm not complaining or anything. It just really surprised me, but I enjoyed it. And then the guy that she ends up teaming up with, him being a gamer, I love that they did a Leroy Jenkins thing, which is so old now, which I find really funny that that's what they decided to use as a gaming reference. But I love that, him coming in a samurai outfit with a tiger mascot head and glasses on. That was cool. The action was pretty fun. I'm enjoying the story so far because it just seems interesting. Like all of these stories have a weird mystery to them, and hers is like, okay, she's existed in the real world. She is Katana Girl, but she's been at home by herself for how long? Like, there's no answer to that. Like, really, the only thing we know that she got from her father is that she's not supposed to let people in, and she says it to the guy like one time. And then, other than that, it's like her father's been gone for who knows how long. We haven't had that answered. It's just like, he's been gone, obviously. She never knew about the katana or anything like that until the guy came along. And he got this secret message. I'm assuming her father put it into the game. So, I don't know. There's, once again, more mysteries. And then her father is taken to this big tower. And then we find out that wherever she travels, seemingly, because when she first got knocked out and she like sheathed the katana and went back into the real world, she just showed up in her room. But when she did it, I guess if she does it by choice, she'll end up wherever she actually is, and that was cool. I enjoyed that. So she's actually in that building at the end of the episode, beats up all those cops, which I don't know if that was a good idea or what, because I'm pretty sure they had cameras in that building. So it probably won't happen, but it's like in real life, you'd be like, well, here's this camera and here's this girl. If you know her, then, boom, there it is. But I like her storyline. I like the fact that when she unsheathes the katana, she goes into the game, but if she just, boom, puts it back together, she's in the real world again. I thought that was actually a really awesome concept. It's not like she can just go back and forth. By thinking about it, she has to do that action, and maybe they'll have it where she gets stuck in the game, because an enemy like steals the sheath or something, so she can't put them back together. And then, of course, there's the question as to how did her father even get the katana? Like, how did the katana leave Hiro's hands? So I'm sure that'll get answered. Hiro, of course, does come back. So there's a lot of different things going on there. I'm not sure, but I like this for these first two episodes. I thought they were pretty good. I like the main characters, the new heroes that we've gotten. Of course, Noah was always an interesting character, and now he's almost evil again, but we don't really know. So that has me very excited. We also have Molly introduced in like the second episode, and she's kidnapped by two people with superpowers, or at least one person has superpowers. We didn't see if the woman did, who was also in the show The 100. So when I saw her, I was like, oh, look at that. Because it's really easy to recognize people from other shows I've reviewed. So I was surprised to see her in the show. But now they have this character who can find other superhuman people. And typically, we have an evil version of, superhumans who are trying to hunt other superhumans. That always happens. So we have like this wife and husband combo who are just humans who lost their son, who have a very interesting relationship. I love, my favorite scene with them is definitely when they first get stuck in the room. Um, it's like they have this weird argument because I wasn't sure if they were husband and wife because I didn't recognize the woman in the opening scene. I recognized the guy because I can't think of his real name, but like I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. He's the guy who's the main character in Chuck. For anyone who may have somehow forgotten that if you ever watched it, so I recognize him, and he's in a bunch of other nerdy things as well. So it was like, oh, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, it's him. But I didn't really recognize her, so I didn't know if he lost his wife and child, or if she was his wife until they actually showed them their names when they were locked in the room. And I love that conversation. It was like they're still married, and they still seem to love each other somewhat. But, she's trigger happy, and he's like, like he didn't want to kill the kid in the beginning, but she's like, no, we're killing all of them. It doesn't matter. He could have spotted you. Whether he did or didn't doesn't make a difference. We're gonna kill him for our son. We kill all of them for our son. And he's more of the sympathetic type where, with adults, that's one thing, but with kids, it's like, we lost our own kid. Why should we kill a kid? But same battle, but they see it in different ways. And I like that. They have their arguments. And I don't know, I feel like he might actually be superhuman. Like, maybe he has a higher intellect than even he realizes. But it's just like him just figuring stuff out. Because I wouldn't have been like, why are there no light switches and stuff like that? And it was just like, he was like, why don't you just sit down and I'm going to figure out how to get us out of here. And he's the one who really thinks situations through. So it was just interesting. It just made me wonder, like, maybe he'll find out that he's not just figuring stuff out because he's smart. It's because he's a super genius because he has, powers. And that's why he's able to just figure certain things out that other people probably wouldn't think of. So I'm not 100% sure if that's the case or if he's just a smart character. And, that's all there is to it. But I like them. We have them. And then we have this other mystery team, which maybe is Primatech or Renatus or whatever has come out of those two companies merging and then falling apart and stuff at the summit. Because we have the stuff where the guy was being chased through the water who turned invisible. That could have also just been random cops. So we have that, and then we have like this actual other secret organization which does have evos going after other evos, specifically Molly, because she can find anyone just by thinking about them. So whatever big is happening fairly soon. We saw the Aurora Borealis stuff. I don't know if that's going to be like a black hole thing or what. The preview for like what's going to happen for this season also seemed pretty insane with, like they're trying to basically start over the whole world and stuff, this other secret company. So I'm not sure what to expect from this, but I enjoyed the first episode. Slight nostalgia just from some of the scenes making me think of old stuff, like, oh, what did they keep from like the possible future timelines that we got to see in the original series to now? What stuff has changed? How have characters changed, like Suresh being deemed, an evil terrorist and stuff like that, because it's Suresh. Of course, he'd be like the person to support Evo and human, coexistence, but he's been deemed a terrorist. And even the guy mentioned it, like, once is, that's just, okay, sure, it happened. But twice, something's off. Like, why was he blamed for the church thing just like he was blamed for the other thing that happened? So even he knows something weird is happening with that, and it's this other company kind of, with their hands, I'm assuming, in every aspect of the world, dealing with some stuff. So it was pretty cool. I almost forgot to mention our last new character who actually isn't superhuman, which I thought was awesome. His brother was, who ends up getting killed. I was still really confused by that. I would assume, I guess technically having super strength doesn't mean that you can't be shot. They could write that in, but it doesn't technically mean that. So I guess it made sense. I thought he had super speed and super strength at first, how they were showing it, but he just, I guess, was aware a little bit. Maybe had heightened senses in general, so he just had heightened strength, and that was why he could like drop off the building and stuff like that. But that was a cool scene. And then his brother, taking up the mantle of this superhero, El Vengador, I thought that was kind of cool. He's just a human character now involved in this crazy world, and he knows that the people around him, his family, like he seems to be the odd one out. Whereas like his brother had superpowers, his nephew has superpowers, the priest had superpowers, and they really did up the CG on his superpowers, where he just turned into like full on smoke. I was like, man, that was pretty insane. So now he knows what he's involved in, and he's going to help people with superpowers. And it's kind of cool to see that aspect where he really is in danger, but he has like military training and stuff, and they hint at the fact that his medal that he got for being a hero isn't something he really earned. Like he even mentions that like a small moment he's talking about it, and then they kind of that was it. That was our little hint. But I liked him as well. I almost forgot about him because I don't know why. I just kind of forgot about him a little bit. He had like minor portions in the series, and really he seemed like the funny one at first. Like he was sleeping with the teacher and kept forgetting her name and stuff, and he was just like the funny guy. And then it got like obviously super serious once his brother died. So I'm excited to learn more about him and how he deals with the whole Evo thing, and helping other Evos, especially when he finds out that his nephew actually does have powers. So I like his introduction, I like his character and how he's taking up this vigilante role, which used to belong to someone who actually had superpowers, and he's just a human, and he's going to try to get these answers as to who in the city was trying to take out his brother and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I really enjoyed these first two episodes. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about them, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And of course, I have to ask you guys if this brought you back to Heroes in a good way. Like, were you excited for it to begin with? Did this fail you? Does it not matter at all to you anymore? How do you guys feel about it? Because we're going to have however many episodes. Maybe this does go beyond just one season, and from what I remember, it's just one season, and with it being an hour, it can be 22 episodes or even 14. That's still 14 hours of content. That's a lot of stuff they can put in there. So I'm pretty sure it's only one season, and it's not going to be a brand new series of heroes. But I want to know if it actually hooked you guys in, or if you're completely done with it. Like, you watched it, you gave it its chance, and it still didn't bring you back in. I want to know for sure. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.